Hey everyone, this is Mei Yu and welcome to another tutorial. How would Disgust look like 10 years older as an anime manga character? Let's see how I'll draw her. Alright, first let's begin with just a circle for her head. I'm using my B pencil and I'll just lightly sketch a circle. It doesn't have to be perfect, as long as I just have some kind of round shape to represent her skull. Once you have the circle completed, let's go on this side here, and this line will be part of her face. So she's kind of facing slightly towards the side. So I'll draw this part of the face as a line. It'll touch the circle right here, and then it's going to go down. It'll curve slightly near the cheek right here, and then I'll keep going down into a pointy little chin. Okay, so I'll stop right around there for the chin and then go back up towards the cheek on the near side, just like that. So if you kind of take a look at this shape right here, it kind of looks like a really wide looking triangle or shovel shape. So that's a good way to summarize the cheeks, the chin, and then the jawline, just like that, underneath the circle. Okay, so once we have this kind of shape with the line for the face, let's go into just a basic line for the middle of the face. So you can see this is kind of turned along with the face. So she'll be facing this way. Once we have the middle line, let's go into the other guidelines. I like to draw a line like this, so it's kind of wrapping around the top part of her face. This will be for the eyebrows and the top part of the eye, and then the lower eye line can go right around here. Okay, so I'm leaving lots of space in there for her disgusted eyes. Alright, so once we have that, let's begin with the actual features. So the nose will go along the middle line because it's in the middle of the face. So it'll go right along the middle line. It'll come out a little bit at an angle, and then it'll go back in. So this is like a typical anime or manga character's nose, just a little bent line like that. Of course, there are many different ways to draw noses, but for today's tutorial, I'll just stick with a nose like that. Just something nice and simple. Let's add a little nostril. Okay, once we have that, let's go into her disgusted mouth. So, because of her expression, I like to draw the mouth like this. It's not going to look like the anime or manga mouths that I've drawn before. This time it's going to be a little bit more detailed because of the expression that I want to convey and capture. So I have this little line right here. This line will eventually go up. Let's curve up. This side of the mouth would be higher, as you can see here. It's a lot higher than this side. So I think that's a really good way to show a character that's kind of disgusted and it's like she's had enough. She doesn't like broccoli. Alright, so we have the line like that. Now I'm going down a little bit. Keep going down. Okay, so now you can see this line is longer than this line because this part is higher than that. Okay, so once we have the top and sides of the mouth, let's draw a little bit of the bottom. And I'll curve it like this to fill in the basic shape. Okay, so once we have this shape, I'll draw some of the details for her lips. So the upper lip would mimic what we just drew, but it'll go below the line. So something like that. Let's curve it up and then go down. Right down towards this corner of the mouth. Okay, once we have the upper lip, let's draw the lower part. The lower part I like to make a little bit thick looking to really show the shape of the mouth more. So I'm making the bottom lip like that, and it'll go towards the corner of the mouth. And then she's gonna have some teeth showing, just the top ones. I like to summarize the teeth for this tutorial, so let's just draw a curve that's going across, and it's gonna touch the bottom part of the lip and then go up again. Okay, so that is how I'm gonna draw the teeth for this tutorial, so nice and simple. I don't want to draw the individual lines inside the teeth because sometimes I feel if I draw too many details, especially in the teeth, it kind of looks really odd when you look at the picture after. So I think sometimes it's nice to just keep things simple like that, especially for teeth. Okay, while we have the mouth, now let's go into the eyebrows and then the eyes. So she's gonna have a really tense look to the eyebrows. I like to draw a little curve inside the head like that. So right where the middle line is going to be, that's where the curve is. That's not where the eyebrow is going to be though, because the eyebrow would be slightly towards the right, like that. But because the eyebrow is so tense, it's kind of pushing towards this side of the face, so that's why I drew a little crease in there. Just to exaggerate the eyebrow a little bit. Okay, so now I'm beginning the eyebrow. I'm going to draw it quite long. So it looks like I'm going to follow the first guideline I drew across the face. Looks pretty parallel right now, but it's not going to be for long. I want to angle this brow down a little bit, like that. So now it's going past this guideline, which is okay, because we need that for her disgusted expression. Okay, I'm going into the underside of the eyebrow to finish up the shape. And a good way to keep the eyebrows looking slender and long is to have this side, or this end of the eyebrow thicker looking than this end. So this end kind of tapers off into a really thin looking line compared to that side. I just think that's a really good way to draw eyebrows for some characters. Alright, so we have this one eyebrow, and then the other one, instead of drawing another one just like this, I think it would fit the expression more if I tilted this one up. So it's gonna really emphasize her attitude. So I'm drawing the other eyebrow, tilting up like this. Alright, just by drawing these eyebrows like that and with the mouth, you can already see she's pretty disgusted. So these eyebrows are working really well with the mouth to convey that expression. Okay, so this eyebrow kind of wraps around the side of the head, and it comes into view and then it goes down. But I do want some space between these eyebrows too. I don't want to give her like a unibrow or anything. So let's leave some space between the two. There we go. Now that we have the eyebrows, let's go into her eyes. So for this tutorial, I'm going to draw the eyes like this. There are many different ways to draw anime and manga eyes, but I'm going to draw the eyes like this for today. So first, I like to start with a little crease above the actual lash line, which is coming up next. So this crease I feel will help the expression more as well. Okay, underneath this, now I want to leave a little gap. Go across. Let's go a little bit longer than the crease line there for the top eyelid. So this line right now I'm drawing is for the lash line. Let's make it a little bit thicker. Once we have this nice and dark, let's draw a corner of the eye coming down. And some anime eyes are quite stylized. They've got really distinctive shapes, especially when the characters themselves are, I guess, some different expressions. Okay, so we have the dark corner right there. So this shape is quite distinctive, this corner here, and it comes down at a curve. Let's draw a little bit of the bottom right on this eye line right here. Once we have that, let's go up here. just draw a little bit. We don't need too much of this corner. Okay. And for fun, I like to add a little bit. For fun, I like to add a little lash here and there, just right at this corner. And now in this corner, let's draw her killer eyelashes. So, from this side, let's draw one really long curved line, just like that. These lashes don't just end like that. They actually have a little square-ish end to them. So let's get that in. So it looks like a long curved rectangle sprouting out from her eye, like that. Okay, so that's one. She's got 4 on each side. So here comes another one. This one is slightly longer, with a little square end. I'm going to draw another one right here. This is a little bit shorter. And then the last one will be quite short compared to this one. Alright. So once we have Disgust's killer eyelashes, let's move on into the inside part of the eye, so the pupil and the iris. And because of her expression, if you've seen her pictures before online, you can see that in some of the poses looks like she's rolling her eyes. So she's got lots of white areas down here in the eye, and her pupil and the iris is kind of just half hidden almost. So you're only going to see a little bit of the iris and the pupil. I'm going to draw a shape like this. And of course, because this is in the anime or manga style that I'm drawing, the pupil is going to look a little bit different from the Disney version. So we have this kind of like a half oval thing happening. Alright, she's like, really? Okay, so once we have that, let's draw a little bit of the highlight. And you can see I didn't draw the entire highlight because it's also kind of hidden behind this lash line. So I have one highlight, and then let's draw maybe another one, just a small little triangle looking thing, like that. And then I'll draw the pupil underneath the highlights as another half oval. Actually, for this tutorial, let's make this pupil a little bit different looking. I've seen some anime characters where they actually have like a little small dark bit inside, so actually that looks like the pupil for those characters, and then this line kind of looks like just a darker area inside their iris. That's how I see it. So I think for fun for this tutorial, let's just make the iris or the pupil like that. It's really small and really dark, right in the middle there. Alright, so once we have this eye done, let's go on to this far eye. And if you guys want to learn how to draw anime manga eyes step by step in more detail, you can check out these videos I made before. I hope they help. Okay, so this far eye, very similar to what we did, but because of the angle of the face, everything on this side is smaller than this. Okay, so we have that part. Now for the lash line, so just a bit shorter and more curved because of the perspective of the face. Okay, so this bottom kind of goes around here, and then a little bit of the side like that. Okay, now for those lashes. So let's draw the 4. I'll go a little bit faster this time because we've done the 4 lashes in detail before. Okay, so once we have those lashes, let's move on into the iris and the pupil. So I'm drawing the half oval, and now you can see that this line is very close to where the eye kind of meets the face, whereas this side, there is more white space around the different sides of the iris, and that's because she's kind of turned in this angle, so she's facing that way, and then everything will kind of be condensed on this side of the face. So that's why there's less room here than here. Okay, so once we have that, let's move into the different details inside. So I have the highlights and then the little ring around the small pupil, which is right around here. Okay, now that we have her different expressions, now that we have her different facial features, alright, now that we have her different facial features, let me go into some of these lines and erase them. Alright, so now we have her face. I'm just going to draw this line here a little bit over. I want to polish a little bit of the different areas of the face. Okay, so now that we have her face and her awesome expression, let's draw the back part of her head just very, very faintly, like that. And you'll notice it is bigger than the circle that I drew, which is completely fine. As you draw your character, you're going to keep on checking your different proportions, and if you need to, you can always just make them bigger or smaller, depending on what you need. Okay, now let's give her some hair. So, she's got some pretty cool hair, and I like to draw the front part of it first to start her hairstyle. So this line I'm drawing right now kind of goes across her forehead, and then it's going to wrap around towards the back part of the head. And she's got this little piece of hair sticking down, just like that. I think it gives her more attitude, so I'll keep that in there like this, so like a little piece just dangling down from the main part of their hair. Okay. Now from this point, I'll draw another part of her hair, and it's going to go down her side of the face. Keep going down. And then it'll curve away like that. Okay, now from this point again, I'll draw a line going out like this. So this part is kind of like the part in her hair. Everything on this side of her hair kind of gets swooped up in this angle, and everything on this side of the hair just kind of hangs down like that. Okay, I'm just going to break the hair apart into different major shapes, and then afterwards we'll add some detail. If you guys want to draw different hairstyles in different drawings, you can see my other anime and manga videos. Okay, so I have this piece coming up. Let's make it a little bit bigger for more volume. There we go. Extra thickness. Okay, so she's got this big piece of hair, and then let's go into the back part of the hair. So you'll see there's some distance between the line of the hair and the line of her skull or her head. And this distance makes her hair look like she's got lots of volume. So that's what I want. Keep on making this curve in the head. Okay, now I'm going down and go out just slightly as a curve. Okay, so these are like the basic shapes of her hair. Let me erase some extra details so you can see, because we don't need these lines anymore. Okay, so we have the basic shapes of her hair. Let's move down into the other parts of her hair down here. She'll have a little bit of hair sticking out from this side. So I'm coming down from this face line, curving just a little, and then just draw like a little furry looking triangle, just like that. Okay, and then it's going back in. Okay, so once we have the basic shapes of the hair, let's break them up into lots of different little pieces to make the hair look more natural. So I like to start with these curved lines coming around the head like that, and basically just keep repeating them. The more you have, the more separated these pieces will look like. And I think that gives the hair much more of a natural feel. So even in here, this piece is kind of breaking up from the main part of the hair. So just draw those lines. Keep drawing and keep moving in the direction of the hair. So it's kind of curving around and then going straight just a little bit and then curves into this fold. Okay, so once we have that, I'll go quickly into the other parts of the hair. Okay, so we have Disgust's head all done. Now for her body. Let's sketch her rough pose first, and then we'll finalize with the little details. So this is the neck that I'm drawing, coming down on one side. So it curves down, and then the other part can just be like that. I think it's a little bit on the skinny side, so let me readjust this line. Make it a little bit thicker so the neck looks more sturdy. And then erase the first line. Okay, I think that's better. So she has her neck going down. And let me sketch out her shoulders. Now her shoulders are going to be quite important for this pose, and they'll also emphasize her attitude and her expression with her body language. So I'm just going to draw a little curve to show you where the neck ends and attaches to the body. And then for the shoulders, I'm going to draw them angled like this. So it's kind of like that. So this shoulder is going to be raised compared to that shoulder. And I think that just really helps define her attitude in this drawing. Okay, so now I'm going to round out a little bit of the shoulder, and then I'll round out this side, make that a little bit lower. There we go. Okay, once we have the rough areas of the shoulder done, I'm not going to draw the arms just yet because I want the body drawn first, and then the arms. She's going to have her arms crossed across her chest. And for me to do that, I like to draw whatever's underneath the arms first, which is her body. And so when it comes to drawing the arms, I have the body as reference. And so it's going to look like the arms are actually crossing in front of her chest, which adds more realism to the drawing. Okay, so we'll just forget about the arms for now. I'm going to draw a very simple pair of guidelines for the chest. Okay, so this is kind of like the back or the side. It's angled for a natural look. And then this is her chest right here. And then tapers down slightly and then goes out into her dress. Alright. Cool. So once we have this, now we can draw the arm. This one here coming down. I'm not going to go into the details of the hands or how the arms fold into each other yet. First, I just like to plan out the pose by drawing just like a line to represent the part of the arm. So I have this arm. This is the upper arm, and then I know like maybe the elbow is going to be right around here. Let's just draw a circle to represent the joint so you guys can see. Okay, and then from this joint, this forearm goes up. And then you're going to see this hand, which I'll draw as a very rough looking rectangle. Alright, so now this hand is going to be on top of this arm. So I'll draw the line for this arm going underneath the hand. Okay, now we have the elbow of this arm. So about the same length. And then it's going to go up. It's going to cross over this arm here. So it'll be in front. This is the forearm. Now I want to bend it towards the wrist, and then the hand is tucked in behind this arm here. Okay, so we have the basic pose of the arms mapped out, let me just flesh out a little bit more of the arms so you guys can really see what the finished shapes would look like. Okay, so we have this arm here. That's the elbow. I'll just keep it kind of cute and pointy. There we go. Alright. And then the fingers, I'll leave that for later. Fingers, I'll leave that for later. Goes down. Goes in towards the joint. Let's draw the little point, maybe right around there. For the elbow. Okay, now it's gonna go back up. It goes in front of this arm. Okay, now I'll stop right around here because I know the palm is going to be, let's make that a little bit bigger. The palm is going to be right around here now. Okay. And I know sometimes drawing arms and hands may be a little bit tricky. I know for me, when I was starting to learn how to draw different characters, hands were quite challenging. But you guys just keep practicing. The more you practice, the better you will get at drawing. I'll erase some of these lines so you can see the pose better. Okay, so once I have the arms drawn more like this, let me draw this line here for the upper arm so you can see how this arm is going to cover this hand. Erase the back that's being covered, and then I'll erase some of these lines. Okay, so now that the body is all cleared up, let's begin with some of the details in there. Starting with this hand. So this part is actually the back of her hand, and then her knuckles is going to be right around here. So her hand is going to be kind of curved around this arm here. And first, to plan out the fingers, I just want to draw little skinny lines like that to map out the position of each finger. I find this is much easier to draw than to actually start with the individual fingers right away, because now at least I know where each finger is going to go, and then I can just draw accordingly. Okay, so I have these lines coming around and wrapping around this arm. Let me just draw part of the palm here. And then this line goes towards the crease inside the pinky. Okay, so that's her pinky. This is the first finger. And then we just draw this line here so we can see the back part of the hand better. I like to draw a little bit of the thumb poking out so we know it's there. It makes the hand pose look more finished. Erase some of these lines. Okay, so upon erasing the lines, now you can really see how the fingers fit together along the knuckles. And they're all kind of wrapping around and disappearing behind. Okay, so this hand kind of disappears inside there, so we don't have to worry about it too much. Now that we have her pose, let's draw a little bit of her dress. So I like to draw the opening as a V shape, like this. So it comes in down here, and then the armhole comes around and disappears underneath the arm. And then this line can just go right into the chest line. Now that we have the top part of her dress, I like to go down here and draw a little bit of her belt that wraps around the waist. It's a pretty thick looking belt. And she's got a letter D. Just sketch that in. So once we have the D, erase some of these lines. Okay, we've got her dress. Now let's draw a little bit of the scarf. So it's gonna wrap around her neck. To keep the neck looking round, I like to use a curved line for the scarf to emphasize the curved surface of the neck. So I have these two curves, and to show a little bit more realism to the fabric, I like to add these little wrinkles. Let me erase the neck underneath so you guys can see. Okay, so she's got some little wrinkles in the scarf to make it looking soft. And of course, let's draw part of the scarf sticking out. So I like to draw a curve. Just a nice long big curve coming out like that. I'll exaggerate this part to make it look really nice, just sticking out in the back, maybe with a few folds. And then she's got another little piece sticking out in the back as well. Okay, now she's got her scarf, her dress. I want to add a little bit more hair in the inside part here to make it look like she's got hair like all around her head, not just like in the sides. Just a little indication that she's got hair in there. Okay. And now for some finishing touches. Let me go into the dress here and draw these little splotches or stars. They look like really stylized flowers almost. So she's got a really cool design going on. Let me just go all over the place with these shapes. Alright, so once we have our drawing done, let me show you how I'm gonna ink it. And unlike my other detailed manga drawing before, I'm not going to do the inking in real time this time, but if you like to watch me do something like that, you can see this video. Okay, so I have my brush pen, and basically I just want to go over all the different lines with my brush pen to finalize my drawing. I'm glad this turned out exactly what I had in my mind. She still has her attitude. If you want to see more Inside Out characters 10 years older as anime manga drawings, hit that like button. If we reach 5,000 likes on this video, I'll start to plan another one in the future. Thanks for watching!